Okay, in the interest of time, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Again, this is Rick Marsh from the Southeast Energy Efficiency Alliance, and this webinar presentation is being done by the SEIA Industrial Coalition Group. For those of you who are familiar with our group, this is one of our missions is to promote information about resources and technologies across the Southeast region. The Industrial Coalition Program essentially brings together regional manufacturers, the utilities, and other stakeholders with the goal of helping the industrial sector to achieve a higher degree of energy efficiency. And this first of its kind collaborative effort is really an attempt to leverage the work that's being done in the region and the resources that are available to connect industries back to what they need to accomplish the industrial energy efficiency improvements that are needed. Today's presentation is going to cover two key resources from the Department of Energy: the new Southeast Electronic Book of Industrial Resources, as well as the ITP's program's State Incentives and Resource Database. These both are very valuable tools to connect our regional manufacturers back to the resources that they need to drive industrial energy efficiency implementation. Our presenter today is going to be Lindsay Bixby from BCS Inc. And BCS works very closely with the Department of Energy to do a lot of this type of research work. They pretty much put together all of the compilation and publishing for both of these resources, and we'll continue to work on them in the future. The intent for both of these is that they are going to be updated as time goes forward, so they're not static resources, but rather live resources. At this point, I will turn the presentation over to Lindsay. We have tried to mute everybody's line. If you feel that you're unmuted, *6 will toggle you between mute and unmute, or you can mute your phone locally. Please do so during the presentation so that there isn't any feedback. We are going to record this presentation, and it will be able to be posted on the SEIA website along with the resource links that we're going to address today. We'll have some time for questions at the end. At that point, we'll unmute lines, and there's also a chat function that you should see on the left side of your screen that can allow you to chat questions to the presenter directly. So at this point, Lindsay, I'll turn it over to you and let you go forward. Thanks.
Thanks, Rick. Today I'd like to go over two no-cost resources provided by the U.S. Department of Energy's Industrial Technologies Program. These resources are designed to help improve industrial energy efficiency. So while I'm going along, please bear in mind that we want to make both of these resources work for you. So if there's something that you see along the way, or if you have any thoughts of how we can improve them, please let me know. If we're more than happy to take any and all feedback. First up is the Southeast Electronic Book of Industrial Resources. I'm just going to refer to this as the Handbook from here on out. It's a little easier to say. This is the second in the series of U.S. Department of Energy Industrial Resources Handbooks. These handbooks are a collection of incentives and resources specifically designed to help improve industry's energy efficiency by presenting information at the national, regional, and local levels. Data were collected from many organizations in the region, including SEIA, DOE, resource providers, the Tennessee Valley Authority, state energy offices, and various others. These groups also provided editorial guidance for this handbook. And the handbook includes chapters for Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. These are the same states covered by SEIA and the Southeast Industrial Coalition. Okay, this slide, I guess my pictures aren't showing up, but there are two ways to locate resources. You can locate them through the index in the table of contents. First, the index is sorted by geography, so that would be your nation, region, state, and type of assistance, including analysis tools. These are any sort of tools that you can use to analyze your energy consumption. We also include energy assessments, financial assistance, such as loans, upfront payments, tax credits, incentive programs, rebate programs, technical assistance, and training. As you'll see in the table of contents in the coming slides, each chapter is also sorted by resource provider. The chapter layouts are consistent, so each starts with resource and incentives from the government, followed by utilities. This is all utilities, so the investor-owned, municipals, and cooperatives, and then that's followed by nonprofits. Information on private programs is presented in the appendix, and I'll get to that later. Okay, the handbook opens up with an introduction that provides a broad overview of resources listed throughout the region. This is followed by the federal and national programs, which you're seeing a screenshot of now, and then that's followed by regional programs, and then chapters on the states. All resources are alphabetical by organization and sorted by category. All right. As I said earlier, the state chapters are set up similar to the federal and regional chapters. However, state chapters provide an overview of industry and its importance to the state. This includes overall gross domestic product and the percentage contributed by industry. It also includes industrial employment, top industries based on total value of shipments, industrial energy consumption, and how it ranks to the rest of the U.S. Each state chapter also provides an overview of the legislative climate by providing information on state policies pertaining to energy efficiency and renewable energy. States with energy efficiency policies for industry are highlighted in the chapter introductions as well. And another thing to note about the introductions is that they're followed by a sorted list of incentives and resources that the team was able to identify that industry in that state can access to help improve their energy efficiency. You can sort of see an example of that on this slide, but we'll get a better look at that on this slide. Pretty much, here's an example of how a resource or an incentive is presented in the handbook. It starts off by the category, and in this case, it's National Industry Associations. It's followed by the resource provider name, program name, resource type, and then a brief 1 or 2 sentence description of that resource. This is then followed by the contact information, and then at the bare minimum, we include the URL, so that way you know where the resource is located and where you can go to get more information. And some of them, we've been lucky enough to locate who the person is that's in charge of that program, and in those cases, we've included that person's name, phone number, and email address. All right, the appendix. The body of the report contains process-specific incentives and resources. The appendix, however, contains information on services provided by energy service companies. It also contains information on smaller programs that are also available to industry, including load management or time of use incentives or discounts, water heater, CFL, small HVAC, and heat pump rebate programs. We felt that these were important, but you wouldn't get your biggest bang for your buck using these as you would the bigger programs listed in the main portion of the book. The appendix has a similar layout as that of the rest of the handbook. Now, what I'd like to do, if I can figure this out, is to show you what the handbook looks like, so that way I can run through it with you. Let's see. Okay, you should now be seeing the cover of the book. As I said earlier, there are 2 ways to locate a resource. First is the table of contents, set up where you've got the introduction, federal, national programs, regional programs, state programs. Let's say I want to jump right into Mississippi. So I'll click on the number 36 here, and that takes me directly to Mississippi's page. You'll see that it starts off with 2 paragraphs. The first is where we've done an overview of industry and its impact in that state, and then the second is on what the state has made available for industrial energy efficiency. This could be anything from having a mandate where utilities and must do something to improve energy efficiency. So in those cases, the utilities have a major incentive for working with industry, and it sort of sets up the body of the rest of the chapter. So here we have a couple of government programs, starting off with the Mississippi Development Authority Energy Division and its Energy Investment Loan Program. Next page, continue with it. Then we've got utilities. So have a couple offered by Atmos Energy, Entergy Mississippi, and then Mississippi Power. What I'd like to do is I'd like to go to the back of the book where we have the appendix. And we start off with the ESCOs and then make it back to the states. So here's where we have the remaining the remaining smaller programs. If you go all the way to the back of the book, we have the, let's see, almost there. Okay, we have the index where you can find it by type. So analytical assistance, educational assistance, education and training, assistance programs, and whatnot. So let's say I want to see what financial assistance is available in Kentucky. Just click on the 31 here, and it'll take me directly to this page where I see that there's a rebate program offered by Kentucky Utilities. And this is separated with, or this also includes other things from the Louisville Gas and Electric Company, as well as the other incentives. All right, to go back, stop sharing. Okay. All right. Sorry, it's taking a moment for my...
Yeah, this should bring it up for you, Lindsay. Hold on. It should be coming back now.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Perfect. Okay. How to obtain a copy of the handbook. It's our hope that this handbook will be made available through several venues, including the States and Utilities Partnerships pages on the Industrial Technologies Program's website. It's currently there now. I have the link to one of those sites right below the picture of the cover. It's also, Rick has also made it available through SIA's website, and I know that he's emailed it out to you guys as well. One thing I would like to point out is that this handbook can be customized to highlight a single state. So if you would like something specifically for your state, please email me, and I'd be more than happy to send that to you. Also, if you're looking through it and you see any entries that you would like to add or update, let me know that as well, because as I said at the beginning, we want this resource to be of value to you. So let me know what I can do to make this more helpful for you. So now I'd like to switch gears to the other resource that's available. This is the States Incentives and Resources Database. It was initially launched in 2007. We update it about every 6 months, and since we had initially collected the data, we've more than doubled the amount of entries that are available for industrial energy efficiency. With the latest release happening this past Monday, you'll find approximately 3,000 entries that cover the national, state, local, utility, and nonprofit levels. I have the URL listed below, and I believe Rick sent this out in his email yesterday, so you should have that there as well. All right, search functions. There are several filters for finding resources. You can find it by geography, so that would be you can pick all, which would be every single part of the country. You can select it by region, and you can also select it by state. We have another filter for resource types. This covers assessments, energy analysis, grants, incentive rate programs, loans, rebates, renewable energy credits, tax incentives, trainings, and other stuff that didn't quite fit into either of those categories. We also have it by energy type, so natural gas, electric, renewable, or other, and then program sponsor. What I would like to point out are 2 new functions that were added to this most recent release. First is the capability to search by industrial system or process type. You can search for it by lighting, building systems, HVAC, or load management, energy sources, or what the specific process is. You can also perform a direct search if you know the name of the program, sponsor, or if you're looking for specific elements of a program. Say, for example, you want a motor rebate program, or you want information on a motor rebate program, and say you want something with a minimum of $50 for the purchase of a motor. So you would just type in $50 and motors, and that should lead you to getting something that you would like. So here's a screenshot that displays the standard results output. In this case, I decided to pick Tennessee, and what they all look like this. What it has at the top is it gives you, it has your filters. It says what you specifically looked for, and in this case, I only looked for Tennessee programs. So then it tells me how many results were found. And everything is sorted on this by the name of the resource title up front, a brief description, and then the sponsor. And I'd like to quickly show you an example online of how this works. So let's see. So hopefully this works. All right, Rick, are you seeing the State Incentives and Resources Database website?
No, I believe it's still loading on this end.
Okay.
It did take an extra second for it to pop up the last time you did it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still not getting it.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see. It's not giving me the option to stop sharing. So basically, I guess we'll let it wait a little while longer. But okay. Now are you guys seeing it?
Lindsay, I'm still not seeing it, but
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe it is still
back. Okay. Well, let me see if I can get back to the slides. But I guess that was more or less what I had wanted to go over today. The only slide that I have left is it was my contact information. At this time, I'd like to ask if there are any questions.
And Paul, if you're on, if you could unmute the callers, please, or the callers are free to use the chat function.
All participants have been unmuted.
Okay. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Yeah, Lindsay, this is Tim. Unfortunately, right in the middle of your talk, my phone died for a second. I had to call back in, so I missed how you get access to this handbook.
That would be, let me see if I can get back to my presentation. It's, for some reason I'm kind of locked and can't move back to it, but yeah. What? Oh wait, here we go. Or no. Okay. Hopefully this is. Sorry about this. Okay, perfect.
There we go.
Let me go back. So to access the handbooks, you can send me an email, but you can also get it by clicking on by copying this URL on this slide.
And Tim, I can shoot you an email following this this call. I'll send you the 2 links.
All right, that'd be great. How often is this updated is the other question I have, because some of the information is critical to be current. How often do you guys keep it mandated?
Well, it's our hope to update it along with the updates for the State's Incentives and Resources database, just because we use the same information from both. So this we would say about every 6 months. So this is due for an update within the next couple. But what I'm trying to do is make this a living document. And so anything I can get as it's being mailed to me, we're trying to plug it in. And ultimately, that URL that I had up earlier will be where the most current form of this document will always be held. But the reason I brought up the States Incentives and Resources database is because one of the things that we were able to do with this recent release is we've been able to make it so that way it updates much more frequently. So if someone emails me, I can add it to both the handbook and the database, but the database will be released like on the website within 5 days instead of, there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to posting things on the Department of Energy's website. It has to go through a couple of approval stages, so it takes a little bit longer.
Great.
Are there any other questions? Well, I thank you all for your time today, and Rick, I'll turn it back over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Lindsay. I just want to reiterate one thing. You know, we've said it a couple of times, but it bears repeating. These resources are only as good as the information that are within them. I know there's a couple of utility partners on the line. One of the things that the SEIA Industrial Coalition is dedicated to doing is keeping these resources top of mind and fostering an environment for the update and continuous update of these resources. As Tim Colt mentioned, they're really, some of them are very time sensitive. Some of these programs only last for a particular portion of a year or a very defined timeline. So we do want to make sure that we all collectively work together to keep these as updated as possible. One thing I do want to mention, if you were directed to this webinar session via a forward or something along those lines, please feel free to send me an email. My contact information is on your screen, rick@sealliance.org. I could add you to the direct list. This is the first in our initial revamp of webinar series. We're going to be talking about some technologies in the future, so I can easily add you for the distribution. Also, if you don't have the direct links that Lindsay's been referencing, if you didn't get my email with those in them, shoot me a quick note. I'll send them to you directly. The URLs are a little long. You might not have been able to copy them today. Well, that concludes today's presentation. Again, if you have any direct questions, feel free to email Lindsay directly or myself, and we can point you in the right direction. And for sure, if you know of new programs that aren't listed or updates or things of that nature, please get them to Lindsay so we can keep these documents current. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. I hope this has been valuable, and feel free to forward this information along to anybody that might be interested. This is definitely something we want to get out to the masses. So thank you very much, and look for another SEIA Industrial Coalition webinar version coming along soon. Thank you much. Bye-bye.